Welcome to lesson 6 of Python 3. Assalamu alaikum. Today's lesson is about string concatenation. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In this lesson, I will tell you about what is string concatenation and how to do the string concatenation in Python 3. String concatenation means to join two or more than two strings together to make them a single string. For example, you have two strings. One is hello and the other string is world. Both of them are separately enclosed by quotation marks. As you can see, it has its own quotation marks while the word has its own quotation mark. But when you join them together into a single string, both of them will be enclosed by a single pair of quotation marks, not separately. However, you can see that when you combine them, they will have no space in between them. There is a method in Python 3 where you can introduce a space as well in between two words of a single string. String concatenation have different methods in Python 3. The first method is the use of plus sign for concatenating two or more than two strings. So how will you use a plus sign? For example, you have a string hello and you have stored that string hello into a variable a. This A is a container. I have already talked about containers, variables, and how to store values in containers or variables in my previous lessons. So we have stored this string hello into a variable A and another string world into a container B. So two strings stored in two different variables. Now we are going to combine them or join them to enclose them into a single pair of quotation marks. The method is that you will have to type print, and as you already know that in Python 3 print must have these parentheses. So inside parentheses you will type this A variable and then plus sign and then B. This plus sign means that you are going to concatenate this hello with word. So as soon as you hit enter, you will see on the screen both the words combined together. However, print hides the quotation marks from this string. It just makes the quotation marks invisible. However, in reality, they exist there. You will see them when you do not use the print command. So if you just type A plus B, you will then see the quotation marks surrounding this hello world. As you can see, there is no space in between them. If you want to introduce a space between hello and world, then you must introduce a space that is surrounded by a pair of quotation marks. So there is a space in between these two quotation marks. So I am telling the Python that first you have to write hello and then concatenate that hello with a space and then concatenate this word with this. So a space will be introduced in between these two words. Okay, if you want to combine multiple strings into a single string, for example, you have a string hello, you can directly use these strings without saving them or storing them into variables. Like here we saved them into variable A and B and then we use the print command and plus method to concatenate them. But you can directly type hello plus word. They will be concatenated. Just like here, I have used hello enclosed in these quotation marks, then plus and then a space, then again plus, world, then plus, then this exclamation mark enclosed by quotation marks, then plus. This plus is not enclosed by these quotation marks. This quotation mark is for this exclamation mark, while these two for the space in between them. So the plus sign is without quotation marks. You must remember that. And then again the plus sign. After plus, another string. This is Python 3. Remember, this is a single string. Although these are three words, this is and Python 3. But as they are enclosed by a single pair of quotation marks, that's why this is a single string. So there are string 1. This is also considered as a string because it's a space and it is enclosed by quotation marks. So 2, 3, this is 4th, 5th, and 6th. So 6 strings, we are converting them into a single string. So as you hit enter here, you will see these into a single string. So this was the method 1 where you use plus sign to combine two or more than two strings together. The second method is the use of percent sign. For example, again, you have two strings stored into two different variables, the method is that when you type print, or you can also ignore the print command, then inside a single pair of quotation marks, type %s and %s. So this percent is a method and this s means string. So %s is for this A, the second %s is for this B. Okay, so %s would mean that you should take this hello here, and then again %s, it will take this B instead of this %string. And this % means that these two should go with these %s. So these two %s are one for A and the other for B, while this tells that you are going to insert it into these quotation marks. So instead of this %s, A will be inserted, and instead of this second %s, this B will be inserted. So S means string. To introduce a space in between A and B, then you can introduce a space like this. So A, comma, space, enclosed by a pair of quotation marks, and then comma B. So in between hello and word, a space will be introduced. But remember, now you will have to use 3 signs, %s symbols. Why? Because this is for A, the second %s is for the second string, this third %s is for this third string. However, there is another method as well for introducing a space in between A and B. The second method is that don't introduce this space here. Instead, insert a space here in between two %s's. So type %s and then just give a space and then again %s. So it will take this A, which is a string here, and then it will introduce a space, and after space it will take this second string. So in between these two strings it will insert a space here. So in this method we do not put any space between %s's. And we use here a space that is in between A and B. But here you introduce the space between these two %s's, but you don't introduce a space here. So these are the two methods. So once you type one of these two methods and hit enter, you will see hello and word separately. Okay, now let's combine multiple words with this % command. Here we have hello, one string. This is the space, second string, word, third string, exclamation mark, a fourth string, comma, space, fifth string, comma, this is sixth string. So you will have to use 6 %s's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So this hello will be inserted here, and then without space it will take a space instead of this, and then without space it will take word and then exclamation mark and then this space, and then this is Python3. You can use this second method as well, introducing spaces in between these %s's instead of inserting manual spaces here. In this method, you will use less number of %s's because you don't have spaces here. So %s for this hello, and then a space here in between these two %s's, and then this %s for this word, for this exclamation mark second %s without space, and then a space. After space, this %s is for this is Python3. The result of these two methods will be like this. Hello, space, word, exclamation mark, without space, and then space, and then this is Python3. This was the second method. We have a third method. This third method is called dot format method. For example, again, you have two strings stored in two different variables. The method is that you have to type print, then to a pair of parentheses of this print command, and then after that you use the same quotation marks. But this time, instead of typing %s, you will have to type opening and closing curly brackets for each string. So for A, you type a pair of curly braces, and for the second string B, you type again this curly braces there. And then just after that, you put a dot and then type format instead of %sign, which you used in the previous method, and then the same A, comma B. So this pair of curly braces will take this A, and then without space in between them, it will take this B, that is word. So once you hit enter, this hello word will be typed here. Now you want to introduce a space in between them. The method is the same like this, but you insert a space in between A and B. So A, comma, space enclosed by quotation marks, and then comma, and then the second string. So hello space world. The method is that now instead of 2 pairs of curly braces, you will have to use 3. Why? Because you have 3 strings. So 1 pair of curly braces for each string here, and then the dot and format, etc. The second method for the same space introduction is that instead of typing a space here manually, you just insert a space in between these 2 pairs of curly braces. So this curly brace is for A, and then space, and then B. So it will take A first, that is hello, and then space, and then word. Just like you saw in the method number 2. Any one of these 2 methods, when you type and hit enter, you will see hello and word with a space in between them. Now let's combine multiple strings into a single string. So we have here string 1, and then a space, string, and then a space, and then a string. For each string, you have a pair of curly brackets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the same spaces can also be introduced here without using spaces here. Then you will have to insert space in between the pairs of curly braces. It will take hello first in these 2 curly braces, and then it will introduce a space, and then world, and then the third will be without space, that is this exclamation mark, and then it will introduce a space, and then instead of these 2 curly pair of curly braces, it will take this whole sentence, which is one string. The result of both these 2 methods will be like this: hello space world, and then exclamation mark, and then space. This is Python 3. So this was the third method. We have a fourth method as well, which is called dot join method. In dot join method, for example, again you have 2 strings stored in 2 different variables. This time you don't need any percent or any pairs of curly braces. You just need a pair of quotation mark without any space, etc. And then just like in the previous method you used dot, here you also type dot, and then instead of format you type join. But there is another difference. Now instead of a single pair of parentheses, you use double pair of parentheses, and then you type the containers, that is variables a, comma b. So here in the format method you used only single parentheses surrounding this a and b, but in the join method you will have to use 2 parentheses here. The remaining thing is the same as that was in the format method. Hit enter, you will see this hello world. But if you want to introduce a space, the method is the same as you inserted space in the previous methods. So you will have to introduce a space enclosed by quotation marks here, a, comma, this space, and then comma b. The remaining method is the same like this one. There is a second method as well of introducing a space in between a and b. Just like you saw in the previous methods, they have two methods, each of them for introducing a space in between them. Here as well, it has 2 methods. In the second method, we don't type space here in between these 2, but we introduce a space in between these 2 quotation marks. So you just give a space in between these 2 quotation marks, and then you don't need a space here. So it will insert a space in between these 2 strings. Okay, now let's see a longer version of this method. This hello, and then you have a space here, world, exclamation mark, and then again this is a space enclosed in quotation marks, and then this is another third string. Or instead of typing space here manually, just give a single space here. This single space will be considered as a space in between each of these strings. So it will give a space after hello, after world, after this, and after this. So this will print like this. So these were all the 4 methods that you can use for string concatenation in Python 3. Now let's compare all these 4 methods. So you have 2 strings stored in 2 variables. So now let's see the difference and similarities among these methods. You can see here print a plus b. This is a simple method. Again here print and the same pair of parentheses for the print, that is this. And then %s, you can see here, and you don't see any %s here. And then you see another percent here for this A and B, and these A and B are enclosed in these parentheses. How is this method different from this method? You can compare these methods. Here you have %s and here you have a pair of these curly braces for each of the string. But here for each of these strings you have a %s symbol. But here you don't have anything in between these quotation marks. You don't have anything. Neither this pair of curly braces or %s. The similarity between this and this method is that you put a dot here, but you don't need a dot in this % method. But in these two methods, you need a dot. And the difference between this and this method is that here you see a single pair of parentheses, while here you see double parentheses. So these were the methods. The result of all these methods will be like this: hello and word, without any space in between them. You can ignore the print command. Just type A plus B in plus method. Or in this method, when you ignore this print, so you just have to remove this print with its pair of parentheses. So just a skeleton will be remained. So this skeleton will work as well. Here the same thing, you need just to remove this print including its pair of parentheses. Just skeletal structure will be left. And same is the case with this join method. But the difference will be in the result. If you hit enter for these methods without print method, you will see these quotation marks surrounding this hello world. But with print method, you don't see any quotation marks. Print method just make these quotation marks invisible. However, in reality, these two quotations exists surrounding this hello world. But here, as we are not using print command, so they are not invisible. You can see them. So these are the three things that you need to remove if you want to use these methods without print command. So you see, these are the two quotation marks that are visible here, but they are invisible here. Okay, now let's compare all these four methods vertically and analyze them one by one, each part of this method. The differences and similarities are clearly visible here. You can see A in all the methods, B in all the methods. Here in all these three methods you see comma, but in the first method you don't see any comma. There is no comma, there is a plus sign in between A and B. Now the second thing, these parentheses. So in all of these three methods you see this pair of parentheses, but in A plus B you don't have any pair of such parentheses. But if you want to use the print, then the print has its own pair of parentheses. They are not used for this A plus B, they are the print's pair of parentheses. And here you can see that there is another extra pair of parentheses in join method, which doesn't exist in these two methods. The third thing, here you have %, in this method you have format, and in this method you have join. And there is a dot in these two methods, but you don't have a dot here. The third thing, these quotation marks. All of these three methods have these quotation marks, while the plus method doesn't have any such thing. You directly type A plus B. In these three methods, the differences are clearly visible. Here you use %s for each of these strings. Here you use a pair of curly braces for each of these strings. But here you don't need any such thing like these %s's and curly braces. So these were the similarities and differences among all these methods. Now let's try these methods and see practically in the Python IDE. Now you just need to open any of your favorite IDEs of Python 3 and see how these methods work. Now let's define a variable A and save a word like hello in variable A, and in variable B let's save the word world. Okay, these are two strings. Now we want to combine them. You can use as print A plus B and hit enter. You can see that these two hello word have been combined. You can just type A plus B without any print. But now you will see these quotation marks surrounding this hello word. So how will you introduce a space in between them? Now let's see. Print A plus a space surrounded by two quotation marks and then plus B. So a space will be introduced. You can also type it like this plus a space plus b, and now it will be enclosed by 2 quotation marks. Now let's use the percent method. For the percent method, type print and then quotation marks %s because we have 2 strings, and then this, and then again percent and then parenthesis a comma b, but you don't use plus sign here, and then hit enter. So these will be combined. Without print, let's see %s and then %a comma b and hit enter. Without print, the output will be with the quotation marks. Now let's introduce a space in between them. So print %s, give a space here, %s, and then this again %a comma b. So the space will be visible in between these 2 hello words. There is another method for introducing a space. Print s, %s. This intermediate %s is for the space, and then %a comma space comma b. Now again this space will be introduced. Now let's use the third method, the dot format method. So print quotation marks. Now you will have to use a pair of curly braces for one string, a pair of curly braces for another string, and then dot format a comma b. Now let's introduce a space. Print this space this dot format a comma b. A space in between 2 words. Another method of introducing a space, then one string, space, another string. Now put dot format and then a space and then b. Hello world. Now let's see without print command. Example, space and dot format a comma b. Why a comma b? Why we didn't use space here? Because we have already introduced a space here. So just hit enter. But this time you will see these quotation marks here because you are not using the print method here, and you here don't see any quotation marks because you are using the print method. Okay, now there is another thing that I didn't tell you about during my presentation, during my lecture. Now let me tell you that thing as well, because that is very important. So what is that? Here, this one, and then this thing, dot format, the same thing as we type above. In Python 3, every element of a string have an index. For example, in these 2 elements, this A has an index of 0 and this B has an index of 1. The index system in Python always starts from 0, not from 1. But in our language, the index system always starts from 1. But here in Python, this is indicated with index 0 and this B will be indicated as 1. And if there were another third element, that would have 2 index. So now if you just hit enter, you will see hello as the first word and word as the second word. If you want to bring this word before this hello, what will you have to do? Just type 1 here and 0 here. This 0 means that take this A here, the index, and this 1 means that you take B before A. So it will be written as world hello. Now let's see world hello. Okay, now let's use more than 2 strings. For example, string 1, string 2, string 3. We have 3 strings. Dot format, and you have like A and then B, and then you have another third string like Roshan, for example. Okay. Now let's see that this has an index of 0, 1 and 2. Hit enter, you will see them in the same order like hello world Roshan. Now let's put indexes here 0, 1 and 2. And now let's hit enter again. The same sequence, the same order. You want to change the order. You want to put 2 here and 1 here. So what will happen now? Say hello Roshan world. As Roshan has an index of 2, that's why as we have typed 2 in the second place, so this Roshan will come here and this word, this B will go here. Okay, now let's change it further. Let's put 2 here, 1 here and 0 here. So it will be totally reversed, flipped. This Roshan will come first and then word and then hello. Now let's see the fourth method of join, the dot join method. In the dot join method, you just type these quotation marks and then you type dot join A, comma B, and that hint. Okay, sorry. Here I forgot one thing. In the dot join method, I told you in my presentation that you will have to use double pair of these parentheses. So we forgot what? We forgot a pair of parentheses here and one here. Now it will work. Okay, you want to introduce a space. So just put a space in between these two, and now you will see a space in between hello and world. So I think it was a long lesson today. I'm very thankful for you people to watch my videos till the end. Inshallah, in my next video, I will tell you more about Python 3. So till then, bye.